Veteran shark killer Captain Frank Mundus and his friend Don Braddock have done it again, this time reeling in what is being called a world record. At around midnight, the two Long Island fishermen brought in a great white shark weighing more than 3,000 pounds.
I'm happy with... You're sitting on top of the world. How does that feel? It's good. I like it. I need it.
It's amazing. Simply amazing. I'm not a fisherman either.
Moving now to Elan, where fishers caught a peculiar-looking sea creature called the goblin shark.
The goblin shark is known as the living fossil because its lineage traces back for more than 100 million years.
Two fishermen made a world record around midnight in Montauk, New York. The fishermen were in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when they noticed something behind the boat. It was a giant 17-foot white shark, bigger than their boat. At first, they got frightened, but later realized that it was lifelessly floating on the water. They decided to show their discovery to the world and spent 2 hours catching it. A marine biologist said that the shark weighed 3,000 pounds, breaking the record of the Australian white shark after 27 years. The shark was taken into custody for further investigation. Goblin shark.
Moving now to Elan, where fishers caught a peculiar-looking sea creature called the goblin shark.
Fishers in Yilan, Taiwan, pulled up something really special from the deep sea. They caught a goblin shark, a weird-looking fish that scientists call a living fossil. It was about 15 feet long and weighed 1,760 pounds. When they looked inside the shark, they found 6 baby sharks in its belly. The fishermen were going to sell it to a restaurant, but a museum bought it instead.
Initially, they intended to sell the shark to a restaurant.
But the Taiwan Ocean Artistic Museum bought it off them for preservation as a specimen.
Experts say goblin sharks are very rare. They hope this discovery will help them learn more about these mysterious creatures. Sharks all around.
There's not a shark problem.
People on a cruise near Key West in Florida noticed a frenzy in the water. Several sharks were swimming chaotically near the surface, accompanied by a few dead fish floating nearby. The presence of a large number of sharks was causing concern among the people. The crew alerted authorities and kept the passengers at a safe distance. Later, the sharks dispersed and the cruise continued its way. Another similar incident happened when passengers on a ship were surrounded by sharks. One of the crew members dived underwater and he saw sharks moving towards the ship. The crew slowly moved the ship away from the area as a safety measure. Largest manta ray. A ship was unexpectedly hit by a huge fish at a seaport. After investigating, people discovered it was an injured ray fish that had likely lost its way and hit the ship. The witnesses tried to rescue the large fish, but it was too difficult due to its size. They called the fisheries officers for help. Sadly, by the time the officers arrived, the fish couldn't survive any longer. They removed the 1,000-kilogram fish from the water using a hook loader. Later, the officers then dismantled the fish. Another similar incident happened in India off the Malpi port, where a fisherman caught a giant manta ray fish, which was later exported to fetch a handsome amount. Massive tiger shark.
Look at the size of that shark, guys. It's over 13 feet.
A fishing crew in Florida had the catch of a lifetime when something huge grabbed their line. After a tough fight, they pulled up a monster tiger shark weighing 1,000 pounds. Even though it was an awesome catch, they decided to free the shark. Another incident happened where a diver saw a tiger shark swimming around with something stuck in its mouth. Getting closer, he realized the shark had a sea turtle wedged in its jaws. The diver decided to lend a hand and gave the turtle a gentle push. The turtle and shark felt relieved, and the diver continued to explore the sea.
This boat's 30, he's almost half of it.
Bird snatching. A guy chilling on his boat, Australian, got to see a wild nature show. He watched a shark hunt right in front of him. The man spotted a seabird floating on the waves and started recording it. Out of nowhere, a dark shape appeared under the water and tried to grab the bird but failed. On the second attempt, the shark jumped up, grabbed the bird in its teeth, and went back underwater. The guy witnessing it was amazed by the predator and prey situation. Basking sharks. One evening, a kayaker was quietly drifting in the bay when he spotted something huge in the water. He used a stick to send the camera underwater. To his surprise, it was a basking shark, one of the biggest fish in the sea. The water was full of plankton, which is why the shark was there. The man sat still and watched as the shark swam right up to his kayak. It was an amazing moment to see these gentle giants up close in their natural home. $1 million tuna.
Woohoo! You're good.
A group of friends in Nova Scotia, Canada went on a fishing trip they'd never forget. They spotted a huge fish far from their boat and knew they had to catch it. It turned out to be a massive bluefin tuna. These fish are known to be very valuable, known as $1 million tuna. The friends worked together to reel in the giant tuna. It was so big and strong that catching it was like a battle. The tuna was worth a lot of money. But for the friends, the real value was in the excitement of their amazing catch.
What an amazing, amazing experience.
Massive Warsaw grouper.
Guys, we just caught this massive Warsaw grouper.
Some fishermen in the Gulf of Mexico got more than they bargained for. They were out in their boat when something huge grabbed their line. After a tough fight, they pulled up a Warsaw grouper as big as their boat. These odd-looking creatures usually live in deep water, so finding one was a rare sight. The fishermen couldn't believe their luck. They took some quick photos of their amazing catch and carefully released it back into the sea. Another guy was using big bait, hoping to catch something special while standing at the pier. Suddenly, something huge grabbed on, and the fight for push and pull started. After a tough battle, he was finally able to pull up a massive grouper.
That's why I want mine now.
Hey, get that.
Mutated mystery. A group of friends enjoying a seaside picnic made an unexpected discovery in the sand. At first glance, they thought it was an ordinary seahorse, but something was off about its appearance. It had no fins and an unusually curly tail. Sadly, the sea creature was not moving. The beachgoers placed it in a container of seawater and alerted marine specialists. The arriving scientists were thrilled. It turned out to be a previously unknown species of seahorse that was taken for further research to find its habitat. Squid attack. In Australia, a surfer had an encounter he'll never forget. While catching waves, he felt something tug on his surfboard leash. To his amazement, a giant squid had wrapped its tentacles around the cord. As he tried to free himself, the squid pulled, causing him to fall into the water. Luckily, his friend paddled over to help. Together, they carefully untangled the curious sea creature. The squid, seemingly unharmed, disappeared into the depths, leaving the surfers with an incredible story to tell. Three-eyed catfish.
I just catch a three-eyed southern pickerel.
In a polluted canal in New York, a fisherman made a strange discovery. He caught a catfish, but it wasn't an ordinary fish as it had 3 eyes. People said the fish looked like something from a cartoon show. Scientists think the extra eye might be because of all the toxic stuff in the canal water. Another similar incident happened when a fisherman caught a trigger trout with 3 eyes.
Maybe you eat the fish and become some sort of superhero or supervillain.
After a closer inspection, the surprised fisherman let it go back into the water. Chernobyl fish. In a lake near Chernobyl, Ukraine, a local fisherman reeled in a catch he'll never forget. As he pulled his line from the water, he was shocked to see a fish with 2 fully formed heads. The strange creature had 4 eyes, 2 mouths, and 2 gills. It was unlike anything the fisherman had seen in his 30 years of fishing these waters. Scientists from a nearby research center took the fish to study it. They believe the unusual mutation might be linked to the area's history. But more research is needed to know for sure. Half-eaten big fish. While having a picnic on a beach, a family noticed something strange washed ashore. To their surprise, it was an ocean sunfish. A huge shark had mostly eaten the fish, leaving only the head behind. The family examined the unusual sight and called the marine officers to report it. The officers investigated the shark's bite marks and found the predator was a bull shark. The area was cleared to avoid any other shark attack. Later, the fish remains were buried for environmental protection. Shark scoliosis. While looking at the shark tank, a guy noticed one shark that swam differently. Its body was curved like a bendy straw. Marine vets were called to check on the shark. It had a spine disorder, so the vets decided to perform surgery. After a few weeks, the shark was fine, swimming smoothly with a straighter spine. A similar incident happened underwater when a scuba diver spotted a shark that looked different from the others. It had a big hump on its back, making it look like an underwater camel. Later, the diver informed marine officials who decided to watch for the humpback shark to learn more about it. Mysterious fish.
There it is. What the?
A fisherman in Russia made some amazing discoveries in the deep, dark parts of the ocean. He found strange creatures that looked like they came from another planet. It seemed like a fish with a sore eye and a strange mouth. The fisherman took pictures of these weird and wonderful creatures. That helped scientists to learn more about the mysterious animals living in the deepest parts of our oceans. Incredible discovery. 2 divers were exploring the underwater world near the island of Oahu, Hawaii, when they saw a giant sea creature. It was a 20-foot great white shark, believed to be the biggest ever seen. One of the divers, a girl, even touched its fin. The shark seemed calm, but it suddenly appeared to attack. They tried to escape, thinking the shark was after them. However, they soon realized it was chasing its prey, not them. They recorded the shark as evidence of their incredible discovery, and then quickly left the area. Fish with 2 tails. A man got a fishy surprise while making dinner. He bought a fish from the market, but when he went to clean it, he noticed that the fish had 2 tails. At first, he thought his eyes were playing tricks on him, as it looked like a fish version of a forked road. The man was so amazed by his unusual catch that he didn't want to cook it anymore. Instead, he decided to keep the 2-tailed fish in a special tank. Chunked fish. A scuba diver was exploring the waters off the coast of Hawaii when she made an unusual discovery. She spotted a parrotfish, half-eaten but alive. The diver reported the sighting to a local marine research institute. The fish might have been attacked by a predator, but it was still surviving, defying all the odds.
You guys see the bite mark in this thing?
Another incident happened in Florida when a crew and 2 customers caught a black-tipped shark badly hurt by a big predator. The crew quickly cut the line and let the shark go, fearing that the big predator might return. They decided to leave the area to stay safe and avoid becoming part of the predator-prey situation.
Film, take a picture. Look at that bite mark.
Headless fish. A fisherman in China was searching for a fishing spot near a river when he saw a strange fish. It was a headless catfish swimming freely in the water. Despite missing its head, the fish's brain was still visible, and likely because it had been bitten by something sharp. It managed to move around because of the energy stored in its body. Soon it swam away in water and went out of sight. Transparent sea creature. Divers discovered a strange sight while exploring the reef in Andros Island. They saw a pink string of pearls-like mass floating underwater. At first, it seemed a bit creepy because it glowed and moved gently across the reef. Upon closer inspection, it became clear that they discovered an egg mass from the deep-water diamondback squid. The large egg mass measured about a meter long and contained between 20,000 to 40,000 eggs. They were amazed after witnessing the beginning of a new life. Stingray giving birth. A 12-year-old boy went to a mangrove in search of stingrays. He was on a kayak when he saw a female stingray near the beach. It wasn't moving at all and seemed to have beached itself. The boy got closer to see what was happening. To his surprise, the stingray was trying to give birth. The boy helped the stingray and took the babies out of her belly. There were 8 of them. He was amazed to see the baby stingrays. He left them at the beach to breathe and then went back home.
Look at that! Whoa! Look how cute that is.
100-year-old sturgeon. A remarkable sight was captured on film in a river in British Columbia, Canada. A man was boating when he saw something huge in the water. He stopped to record it, but to his surprise, it was actually a sturgeon, often described as a dinosaur-like fish swimming gracefully. He tried not to move his boat to witness the rare sighting, but soon the creature disappeared into the depths.
We were just able to tag it, so it's probably never been caught.
Another similar incident happened when a fishing guide caught a roughly 10-foot-long sturgeon on the Fraser River in Chilliwack, British Columbia. The fish was close to 100 years old and most likely weighed about 600 pounds. He tagged the fish and released it in the water.
Back into the river. Woo! Unreal.
Surprising fish. A fisherman got a big shock while fishing in a lake in Florida. He caught a fish with a big belly that looked like it had eaten a beach ball. The fisherman was curious, so he checked inside the fish's tummy. To his amazement, he found another fish in there that was still alive. The fisherman couldn't believe his eyes. He quickly went back to the beach and put the smaller fish back in the water where it swam away. Amazing catch. Some Russian fishermen got a funny surprise while out on their boat. While pulling up their nets, the fishermen noticed that it seemed heavier and opened it. To their surprise, a seal had gotten tangled up in their fishing net. The kind fishermen opened the net to help the unexpected guests. Once free, the seal looked around curiously, probably wondering how it ended up on a boat. They used a gentle spray of water to guide the seal back to the ocean. It jumped back to its natural habitat and swam away. Incredible Elephantnose fish. A man visiting an aquarium in Japan couldn't believe his eyes when he saw a fish with an elephant's trunk. The fish had a long floppy nose that looked just like an elephant's. It used its trunk-like nose to dig in the sand for food. Later, he learned these elephant-nosed fish actually exist in nature. Similarly, another person saw a similar fish in an aquarium in Australia. It had an odd movement. Upon investigation, the man found that he was recovering from an injury. Insane-looking fish.
I got it.
A man went to a beach when he got a weird surprise while walking along the shore. He spotted a long, shiny fish wriggling in the shallow water. The fish looked like a silver sword with a thin body and pointy face. The man had never seen anything like it before. He carefully picked it up and put it in a bucket to show his friends. Later, he learned it was a cutlass fish, also called a ribbon fish. Another similar incident happened when a man was fishing and caught a cutlass fish. The fish was moving gracefully in the water. After grabbing the fish, he placed it inside a box full of fish to sell.
I got it.
Incredible catch.
Oh, he's heavy.
Off the Florida coast, a fishing crew had an adventure they'd never forget. At a famous spot called Pulley Ridge in the Gulf of Mexico, they caught something huge. It was a rare Warsaw grouper, a mysterious fish that lives in very deep water. The grouper was so big with wide open gills and a swollen belly
This thing's enormous. It's a giant.
that 4 grown men struggled to lift it. The crew kept it in a freezer on the boat. Later, they decided to mount the grouper as a trophy. They kept catch and preserved it as a memento of their incredible day at sea. Big angry fish. A group of friends had a strange encounter during their beach day. They found a pufferfish washed up on the sand. The fish seemed to be angry like a spiky balloon. The friends knew pufferfish can be dangerous to touch, so they were careful as they checked it out. They didn't want to leave it at the beach, so they came up with a plan. Using a piece of driftwood, they gently scooped up the pufferfish and carried it back to the water. They watched as it slowly swam away. Giant sawfish.
Guy, big guy. Look at the size of him. So, look at his teeth.
Two guys fishing for snook in Florida got a big surprise. Their quiet day turned into a wild fight with a sea monster. They felt a strong pull on their line. After wrestling for 2 hours, they saw a huge sawfish pop up with a rope tied around its nose. Its long, toothy nose looked like a chainsaw. The men carefully let the rare fish go after gently removing the rope. They felt lucky to have seen one up close and were glad they set it free.
Guy, big guy. Look at the size of him. So, look at his teeth.
Smoked hammerhead.
That's insane, man.
Half his body's gone.
Oh, no.
Some folks on a boat trip saw something crazy. A hammerhead was swimming nearby when a much bigger shark showed up. It chomped the hammerhead in half, but it was still alive. They used a fishing rope and caught the remains of the hammerhead to show others. Scientists wanted to check it out to learn more about how sharks hunt. It showed that even sharks have to watch out in the ocean.
That's insane, man.
Half his body's gone.
Oh, no.
Jellyfish with huge tentacles. Beach visitors in Australia found a weird jellyfish. Its stringy arms were super long. The jellyfish's body was like a big ball, but its tentacles stretched way down the beach. Fish experts said that it was a deep-sea jellyfish that doesn't usually come to the beach. They helped put it back in the water so it wouldn't get tangled up or hurt anyone. Conjoined seahorse. During an underwater survey, scientists made an extraordinary discovery. A newborn seahorse had a single body, but 2 distinct heads, each moving independently. The researchers gently captured it and brought it to their facility for observation. They placed it in a custom tank for close monitoring. The unique seahorse became the talk of the scientific community. Experts from various fields flocked to see it and study how such an unusual creature could thrive. It provided valuable insights into sea life development and adaptation. Bent shark fin. Off the coast of California, a group of divers spotted a strange shark. While exploring a coral reef, they saw a large shark swimming nearby. As it got closer, they noticed something odd. It had a bent fin. The shark didn't seem bothered and swam gracefully, despite its unique features. Later, another diver recorded a video of a shark with its left fin bent at a strange angle. Marine biologists are now studying these sightings to understand if it's a natural occurrence or caused by something in the ocean. Deformed fish. At a small pet store in Toronto, a customer noticed an unusual fish in one of the tanks. The tiny fish had a tail bent, making it swim in circles. Despite its struggle, the fish kept moving, showing its fighting spirit. The customer felt drawn to the unique little swimmer but couldn't take it home. The pet store owner said they're working with a marine specialist to find it a home with someone experienced in caring for fish with special needs. Hollowed. In Florida, a towed video camera installed by marine officials to survey large areas of ocean floor recorded a strange sight. In the shallow waters, the camera spotted what looked like half a fish still alive and swimming. The creature used its remaining fins to move through the water. occasionally hiding in the sand before darting out again. The strange sight left marine officers scratching their heads. They're now studying the resilient fish to better understand how sea creatures can adapt to severe injuries in the wild. Additional claws. In a busy kitchen in Maine, a chef got ready to cook for some special guests. He reached into a bucket for a lobster, but got a big surprise. The lobster had 4 claws instead of 2. The chef called a biologist friend who thought it might be because of a change in the lobster's genes. The chef and biologist decided that the rare lobster deserved a special home and gave it to a museum where people could learn about unusual sea creatures. Another lobster named Iola caught the attention due to its rare deformity that caused it to have 6 claws. No doubt marine life is full of surprises. S-back. Off the coast of British Columbia, swimmers spotted something unusual in the water. A humpback whale was swimming, but its back was bent like an S. The watchers were amazed when they realized this injured whale was heading towards Hawaii. Experts believe a large boat might have crashed into the whale, causing the injury. Marine experts quickly stepped in to help and worked hard to ease the whale's pain. For weeks, they watched over the giant patient, monitoring its progress. Finally, they released it into the waves, where the whale continued its amazing journey across the vast Pacific. Stuck turtle.
Come on, catfish. Let go of him.
At Lake Grapevine in Texas, a family's boat trip turned into a rescue mission. They spotted a huge catfish and noticed it was disturbed by something. To their surprise, a turtle was stuck in its mouth. Both animals were in trouble and couldn't get free. The family caught the catfish and used a pole to hold it still. Then they tried hard to pull the turtle out with their bare hands. After freeing both animals, they let them swim back into the river.
I hope he doesn't gonna eat that stupid turtle again.
Yeah, hopefully he's learned his lesson.
Dragon shark.
A rare shark has been found for sale at a fish market in Taiwan.
At a busy fish market in Taiwan, someone spotted an unusual shark for sale. The shark looked different from others as it had a wide head and spines like that of a dragon. Its tail was small compared to its body. People were surprised it was listed as endangered internationally. News spread quickly about the strange shark, and a fishmonger purchased the shark. Later, he decided to release it into the ocean. Strange deep-sea fish.
Oh, it's a fish.
It's defensive.
It's in the water column, isn't
That's
that
a
what
fish?
Imagine a fish that can eat something bigger than itself. That's what a diver found in the sea. While exploring underwater rocks, the diver spotted a strange creature. At first, it looked just like the rocks around it. But then, the diver realized it was a gulper eel. These eels have mouths and stomachs that can stretch. In the deep sea, food is hard to find, so gulper eels evolved to eat anything they come across, even if it's bigger than they are. They just open wide and stretch around their meal. It's a clever way to survive in the dark depths of the ocean.
What's a
Octo shell. When octopuses feel scared, they become masters of hide and seek. An underwater explorer saw an octopus do something amazing. The 8-armed creature was feeling stressed, so it looked for a good hiding spot. It found a big seashell on the sandy bottom. Using its clever arms, the octopus squeezed into the shell. Then it used the suction cups on its arms to pull the shell closed, like shutting a door. In just moments, the octopus went from being out in the open to completely hidden away in its new shell home. Sarcastic fringehead fish. A marine expert was capturing the SeaWorld when he noticed there's a fish that doesn't like visitors, and an octopus found out the hard way. A sarcastic fringehead fish was relaxing in its shell home when it spotted an octopus coming near. The fish didn't wait around and ejected from its shell to defend its space. The octopus probably didn't expect such an angry welcome. Sarcastic fringeheads are famous for being grumpy neighbors and don't allow anyone to come too close to their territory, even if the visitor is just passing by. The expert was amazed by the defensive mechanism of the creature. The deepest fish ever recorded.
Snailfish are amazing because they are not a deep sea fish. So they're the deepest fish in the world, but they're not a deep sea fish.
Scientists have found a fish living deeper in the ocean than ever before. A team from Australia and Japan has been studying deep sea fish for 10 years. They use special cameras to see what lives in the darkest parts of the ocean. Recently, they made an amazing discovery of a snailfish living 27,349 feet under the water. This was surprising because most snailfish live in shallow water. But this tough little fish has set a new record for the deepest living fish ever found. It shows that some creatures can adapt to live in places we never thought possible. It's time for today's open discussion. Have you ever wondered how far a shark can swim? Scientists found out with a huge shark named Ironbound. A team of researchers spotted a massive shark off the coast of Nova Scotia and named it Ironbound after a nearby island. It was 12 feet long and weighed 1,000 pounds. The team worked hard to catch Ironbound safely. They checked his heartbeat, took some samples, and even put a special tag on him. Using the tag, scientists tracked it and found that it swam over 1,800 miles in the ocean. That's like swimming across the United States. The scientists are excited to learn more about where sharks like Ironbound travel in the big blue sea.